because there is nothing worse than dead air. And that's the case in any kind of entertainment. If there's nothing going on, I mean, it's one thing in a movie where you can see things, I guess it's a little bit better, but if you're thinking about it and there's like nothing going on, nobody's talking, if you're listening to the radio and suddenly there's like 30 seconds of absolute silence, it's weird. And I think most people that come into streams, they feel the same way with dead silence of you just not addressing them for long periods of time.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Stream Key Podcast. It is Friday, which means it's time for Phone In Friday once again. I'm back from my vacation, so hi guys, missed y'all. In the studio today with us is GamerDadNC, back once again. How's it going, man?
Doing good.
Yeah?
It's getting warm, so we're doing a lot better.
Yeah, it's really warm.
Yeah.
We got new stools here, so I'm like already falling out of my chair. But we also have joining us online Brihtwulf and Velok back. Brit, first of all, how's it going, man? How are you?
Going great, guys. Thanks again for having me on the show one more time.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. I keep trying to like note down how many times people have been on the show, and I always like at some point I just forget. Like you, GamerDad, I can't remember it at this point.
5, maybe?
I still want someone to go through and count how many times Veli's been on, but someday we'll get that. Not sure. Speaking of, how you doing, Veli?
I'm doing very well, man. How are you?
Good. It is
good
craziness here at the True office because we have playthrough coming up in 2 weeks from today. Mm-hmm. Well, 2 weeks is the setup, and then Saturday's the actual conference, but that has been insane. Plus, True streaming is the same timeline. So it's crazy here, but it's going to be really exciting. And actually, I should mention, the 100th episode of Stream Key will be at Playthrough on the stage, which is going to be pretty insane. So really excited for that. Yeah, 100 episodes. It's I'm really excited. But anyway, if you guys have not seen the show before, this is our weekly show where you can call in to be on the show to talk about your Twitch or just streaming hot takes, any news, opinions. If you guys need help with something, we'll talk through that. We also try to cover Twitch news over the last week, if anything big happened. And this week is a little interesting because I have to be kind of tight-lipped, but there's going to be something at the end of the show if what I've heard is reliable. So we're going to do some news now, but then we're going to save something theoretically big. It's very secretive. We don't know all the info yet, but something's coming at the end of the show around 1 p.m. Eastern our time, 10 a.m. Pacific. So stay tuned on that. But first of all, let's go through some of the general Twitch news. First of all, probably the biggest thing I saw was not actually an update from Twitch, but more so, there's been a lot of talk going around Ninja and Apex. The fact that Ninja got paid $1 million to stream Apex at launch, which, I'll be honest with me, to me, this didn't really surprise me. And a lot of people were talking about this in kind of like shock or whatever. And to me, it's not news. But I'm curious, like, have you guys seen a lot of discussion about this? Do you have any opinions on... and it wasn't just Ninja, by the way. It was multiple streamers, but I guess someone came out with a specific number of 1 million for Ninja. That's why it's getting so much coverage. But,
I mean, I've only heard a little bit from the negative side of it that some people were promised and paid, but I don't know how reliable that like rumor was.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as Ninja, which streamer, that's his business. So I'd say here it's fees, right? Shatner, however much money, picture with him, cons. Good for him.
Right.
You know, it's not like a huge dramatic thing to me. People who didn't get paid, if that's bigger.
Yeah. I think the same kind of thing. To me, it's along the lines of like this. Oh, the Super Bowl. Do you know how much money they got paid to sing at the Super Bowl? Well, no crap. It's a big deal, and they're famous people, and so that's just kind of how that works. You can't be angry because Justin Timberlake got $15 million, or that Pepsi paid $1 million for 15-second spot in ads. I mean, that's just how business and entertainment works. For little people, those numbers are outrageous. If you are talking about that from a streamer of like our size, that's like crazy. So but people, that's not you. Like, you're not a famous streamer. I'm not a famous streamer. I can't expect $1 million, but people get various incentives and sponsorships and payments and whatever. It's just silly. It's like people being angry because somebody's sponsored by TRUgaming and gets preferential treatment. Come on, that's just how the business works.
Yeah, that's how stuff goes.
Yeah,
I mean, there's influencers everywhere, and they all get paid more money than people realize. You know what I mean? Whether it's on Twitch, Instagram, anywhere, people are getting paid to influence you on your decisions, and that's just the way it works. And they probably didn't have to spend that much money to promote their game, but they did, and it paid off well for them. So,
yeah. By the way, guys, I see some of you saying that GamerDad's mic seems to be having issues. Can you pop the screen off the top actually for a sec? Might be kind of loud. Just take the windscreen off. See if the gold, it's facing you. What's going on with that? We'll try and work on it. Literally, these are plugged into the same source, so I don't know why mine would sound better than his, but we'll try to get that figured out. I guess it's quiet and cutting out. That's what it sounds like. Maybe a bad cable or something. We'll work on that. But that was, again, sort of the biggest piece of news that I saw. And it's really just discussion because, again, this is not Twitch releasing anything. But and it was other people too, like I think Dr. Lupo and a lot of those big names, Summit probably. I don't know all of them, but it was a big campaign that EA did, which is pretty standard at this point. So I wasn't really surprised by it. But if you guys have your own thoughts, this would be a great caller topic. If you think like this is ridiculous that he's getting paid so much, or that they even had to pay him at all. That's actually one argument people had, was that, like, why do you need to pay Ninja to play it? It's already such a good game. It was a waste of money, right? But it's like that peace of mind or that guarantee that's going to get seen in my mind.
Yeah, but he publicized the game too, right? He put it on social media and stuff like that as well, didn't he? So he actually put time and effort into it. He didn't just sit at a keyboard.
Right.
So.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right. So moving on to the next topic here. This is sort of a general one. There were a lot of weird little issues Twitch had this week. So I was looking at their support Twitter. It seemed like there were emote that were getting denied when you guys would submit them for a few days. That got fixed. There were video players failing to load. That got fixed. People weren't seeing their streamers and their follower lists. That got fixed. So all to say, if you guys had issues with Twitch this week, apparently the whole platform was having issues, maybe related to what's coming today. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, last big thing. There really wasn't a lot of actual Twitch news this week. Again, probably because they're waiting for whatever's going today. But there was this cool little clip I want to share. And I hope, did you guys have a chance to watch it? The one that I sent over to you guys ahead of the show. Basically, and this is kind of cool for Vel because you've been raided by Tim twice now. Tim the Tatman did a raid on a 13-year-old girl who's deaf, who's a streamer. And it was just a really cool moment that I thought would be cool to share. So I'll post the clip in the chat there. It doesn't look like... No, I think that is the right clip there.
Yeah.
So go check that out. It's like a short little clip, but it might make you smile. And so that was all the Twitch stuff I saw. There was some other little news that I want to talk about. Small thing is that Twitter looks like they might be hiding some of their engagement metrics on the site more. So you know how you're scrolling through the feed and you can see quickly, this tweet has 400,000 likes. That's a huge number. But or whatever, 10 retweets. Those will now be hidden so that you'll have to click on the tweet first and then find the info, to my understanding. Which kind of doesn't sound like a big change, but at least for me when I'm going through Twitter, that's like an instant way to see if a tweet is something you should pay attention to. Like, oh wow, it's got a lot of attention. I wonder what the discussion's going on. I wonder what this is all about. Versus, I feel like if you take this away, now maybe people look like you can't use that as a reference to kind of judge a tweet instantly. So you have to kind of consider more tweets overall. You guys have any thoughts on that potential change coming?
The way you mention it could be a good thing. If you're saying now it's not about tweet popularity, it's about whether or not that particular tweet is engaging rather than how many people have clicked on it. So I suppose it leaves more for the user to make up their own mind rather than just have it like a tweet popularity contest kind of thing. So I think that's not a bad idea. And I don't see it as a problem either way, but I could see it that positive being in there.
Right. Yeah, I get that too. I think that's the reason they gave for doing it, is to try and make just more of a positive platform that's not so driven by, the like numbers and the retweet numbers and whatever. A lot of the counter argument was that people need those stats, especially brands and things like that, to see, how successful are their campaigns, what's working, what's not working, that kind of stuff. But I could definitely see that point for sure, Britt. Vel, do you have any thoughts on this?
I mean, I think it'll be more difficult, like you said, for people to see what's trending and what's working for people. But I don't really see it being that big of an issue for me. I mean, people like to make a big deal out of everything, so
It's true.
Well, one of the things that I learned, I guess, at either playthrough or ECGC this time last year, right, after talking to Veli, not looking at your numbers is actually able to make you more of a focus on the other things that are more important. So I think hiding that, if people are really focusing on Twitter for their social media, not really getting deep into the numbers unless they want to go do some research, right? You don't have those numbers glaring in your face, makes it more relaxed for me. That was just something that you told me last year, I think. You told me to stop paying attention to that view count, and totally different stream, right? So I almost feel like the posts might be potentially not as great of an effect, but some more of an approach to, I'm going to put the content out there. I can't easily just go for a hit number. I can actually go for the message I want to deliver, maybe a little bit. I mean, it's harder when you're not live, but possibly.
Right.
That's a good point too.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think in general, I kind of so they gave the reason again of trying to make it a more positive platform overall with this change, which I like the sound of that. It's a problem that I hear that and I immediately think like that's a PR way of putting something, that they have some other intention here. If that really is, they're just trying to make a genuinely better platform for positivity, I think that's awesome, because I think we can all agree, like with so many social media channels now, getting likes and retweets and followers, and that's like this huge thing now that is kind of becoming a problem with people who it becomes like an addiction for many people in certain ways. So I can respect them making a decision like that if that's the real cause. But if there's some other motive, I can't get the feeling out of the back of my head that that's what that is. I don't know. We'll see though. It's not in place yet. There's also like a camera change they're making, which I didn't feel like mentioning that because it doesn't seem that important. But okay, last thing I have in news, which is not specifically Twitch news, but it's a game, so it relates to Twitch in that way. So, and I'm just really excited about it. Halo is coming to PC, and that's a really big deal because a lot of PC streamers are already looking to stream it. I was following Twitter. A lot of people well, of course, Ninja was, of course, a Halo player originally, so he was talking a little bit about it. Summit was talking about it, Dr. Disrespect. So even though, again, this isn't actually a stream news, it's a good sign that when Halo hits PC, there's going to be a big burst of it on Twitch.
If they get it right.
Yeah, I mean, that depends. But people are willing and excited to play it if they do it right.
Yeah. I mean, I'm even willing to get back into it because I played very early on. So I'm even willing to get the Master Chief Collection. Is that what they're releasing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Shows how much I know because I knew Halo 1, Halo 2, and that was it. But
you missed out on Reach, the best game.
I know. Well, I'll catch up.
False.
I will catch up. I promise.
Actually, yeah, Val, we've talked about Halo before too, haven't we?
Yeah. We definitely had some discussions about Halo and how you're wrong about your favorite one.
Do you think you're going to be streaming Halo 3 since that is your favorite?
Yeah, for sure. At least a little bit. I don't know how crazy into Halo I'm going to get with streaming it, but I'll at least give it a shot because Halo has Halos 1 through 3 have a spot in my childhood where that was I almost failed the 7th grade because of Halo 2 multiplayer. That's not a joke.
Worth it, honestly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, again, this is sort of, we don't know when it's going to release. It's just later this year, so it depends on how it turns out, but we're hopeful here. Britt, do you have any interest in the Halo franchise streaming at all?
On PC, I wouldn't mind checking it out. I don't mind shooters whatsoever, and they're actually pretty fun. I finally checked out the newest Call of Duty just yesterday. So that was a new experience. My son's always been a big fan of Halo, and so he's played a lot of those, but I don't enjoy playing shooters with a controller. It isn't the right feel for me. But being on PC it definitely more likely that I'll at least take a look at it, but it's not exactly something that I'm kind of chomping at the bit to just get in there. It could be fun, but we'll see.
Awesome. Well, that was sort of the big rundown I had, and again, something's coming later, so that's why it's a little shorter this week.
Sure.
If you guys saw something that I missed, please let me know. We can get to it. There's a lot of different places stuff goes out. So now would be a good time to mention callers again. If you guys would like to call into the show, you can. I'll drop the link in the server really quick. In the Twitch chat. So there's a link. Oh, that's not right. Let's post the right one there. We used to use BeLive. That's not what we use anymore. So you need to join the StreamKey Discord server, which is linked in the chat now, and then join a voice channel. If you want to be on the show, you can do either just audio if you don't want to show video, or use your video chat. Put you up here on the screen with these boys and get you to come on the show, talk about any Twitch news, or if you guys have, opinions, questions about streaming stuff in general, I'll be happy to help you out with that. We'll also go to any text questions. So if you guys can't join a call, you can just tag @TRUgaming in the Twitch chat right there or in the Discord, and we'll get your questions on the screen and talk about those. So I'm actually going to get a few of the questions out of the Discord because I don't think we have any callers yet. But if you guys want to talk amongst yourselves for a bit, let me get the first question real quick.
So how about that weather?
Well, I'm definitely happier about it. As anybody that I talk to much knows, I freaking hate winter, and I live in Michigan, which is basically almost always winter. So yeah, I'm not too happy about that.
It's like living in Skyrim here.
Yeah, it is
We're
not
always
cool
waiting for both of you.
Yeah,
all right.
Midwest, man.
We have the first question ready to go, which is from Diashon. Although I don't know, apparently I can't show the question on the screen. That is great. Oh, there we go. Popped up. So this is Daishan. He says, VR gaming and streamers, is it worth it, a distraction, or a fad that will pass as all things do? We've not really talked about VR in here before. You have thoughts?
Yes. So there's a creative streamer. I don't know if he's in chat or not. Every weekend he'll bring out a gaming stream, and he's done like a mixed reality where you can see him in the game, but also see the room he's in. I don't know. He's done something with his cameras, but it's got the potential to really kind of flash for the viewer. He plays Beat Saber every once in a while, and it's a really cool setup that allows you to just give that extra immersion. I think I don't see myself wanting to watch a full-time VR streamer. I'll be completely honest.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think if you were to mix it in and add it in, it could be potentially fun. You do lose streamer engagement, though. You lose a lot of streamer engagement because you're focused in on the game, and playing games like Beat Saber, you're focusing in on the music and everything, and it's just extremely difficult to keep up with your community. So it requires a specific type of community to just want to watch as opposed to talk, which it's not my jam. So but it's cool to catch every once in a while. I definitely will say that, especially if you really invest. It's a big investment in the hardware, though. But if you have that hardware set up, it could provide some really cool content.
Definitely I think you're appealing to a much smaller audience as well, because the population of gamers that either have or are capable of buying VR is pretty small still. They haven't really come out with any affordable VR options for the most part. I guess some of the console ones aren't quite as bad, or at least the PlayStation PSVR is not quite as bad. But between the fact that your audience is significantly smaller, the level of interest is smaller, the availability of games is smaller, and you lose all audience interaction, it just does not seem like a very good idea, unless it's just something like maybe once in a great while and you just want to show off a particular game, or you're maybe a huge, like if you're a big Star Trek fan and all your viewers know it, and that Bridge Commander game came out, and you're like, guys, let's just do this for a little bit. It's probably fine, but in general, I don't see it as a very good idea, and I think it's really bad for smaller streamers. So if you're starting off, I don't think VR is going to help you at all.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I mean, that's something we talk about all the time. That's kind of a separate topic, and I think you guys both bring up good points. One is that it's such an actual cost investment to be able to do it in the first place. And secondly is that it's really tough to interact with like Twitch chat or your community in some way. Now, there are ways you can modify that, I've heard. So, and some of them don't scale very well for big audiences. Like you can have your Twitch chat translated to audio and put through your headset. But if you've got 100 people in your stream chatting at once, that's not going to scale so well. There's also ways you can put like a virtual display on your feed as like an overlay, if that makes sense. And you can kind of do that, but then you literally have to like turn your head and look somewhere else to see the chat. And I feel like, I think I'll let Vel talk a minute here. To answer Daishan's other question, like, is this a fad? Will it continue? I think you'll see VR streaming in the future for sure, but it won't look the same way Twitch does now. Because the whole thing about VR is it's super interactive to the point where like you're there in the game. So imagine instead of watching a screen and watching your favorite streamer, like you're actually in the game following them around doing stuff. I feel like there's all sorts of crazy stuff that you can do with VR in the future. That's kind of like the next level of social media or influencers. So we'll have to see. But I mean, you can do it if you are interested for sure. And there's an audience for it, just probably not as big as the rest of Twitch. So, Val, you have any thoughts on VR?
I mean, you're covering up your eyes, and like one of the best ways to connect with people is to make eye contact. And if you can't even do this, you're eliminating one of like the best ways to at least try to get some sort of connection with your chat. For me, I feel like VR is more of a YouTube kind of thing, because I feel like you can make hilarious content with it and put it on YouTube and make it even probably better and more entertaining than you could on Twitch. And I don't think VR is going away anytime soon. I think it's just going to get better and cooler. As somebody who's tried VR, I love it. It's amazing.
Yeah, it really is crazy. I don't think it's going away either for sure. It's because I mean we've had it in the past and it will maybe die down and then sort of come back. I feel like that's going to keep happening until it gets completely full dive, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
The future is crazy with that kind of thing. So. All right, so I'll go find another question. Guys, callers are wide open, so if you want to call in the show, as always, more than welcome to. Just join our Discord in the Stream Key Discord, not the True Discord. Join any voice call chat, and we'll pull you in. I have a question I'm going to queue up right now, so give me a couple seconds. You guys, any other filler topics here?
How about those sports?
Sports ball? Man, baseball season's about to start.
Balls.
Oh man, I got nothing.
Is the hockey ball court season done yet, or is that still going on?
Oh,
Did the Red Wings get that touchdown or no? I don't know.
I am
I
not
don't
sure.
Velly, what's that? What's the new game you've been playing? Like as you kind of when you take a little bit of a break from Apex here and there, it's
Siege, and then I tried Metro. Terrible game. The new, I love the first two so much, and the newest one is just it. Nope.
What's the downside on the new Metro? Because that's something that I was actually considering taking a look at. Because I don't mind shooters that are RPG shooters, so like Fallout type stuff where there's quests and something going on.
So for one, there's a lot of bugs. Like at one point, I just fell through the floor and just saw a bunch of nothing. And I was like, well, I blame the radiation in Russia. I'm assuming that was the case. But so there's bugs. The game crashes all the time on PC, and it would crash my stream, which is infuriating. And then the one thing that annoyed me the most though was the dialogue in that game is so slow paced. It took 5 minutes for me to get a pair of binoculars from some random Russian dude. And he was just spewing out nonsense. I even tried to run away from him, and he chased me and continued the dialogue. I'm like, well, okay. And then I just uninstalled it. It's just,
A little awkward.
No. Yeah. Yeah. I love the first two, but that one.
Not feeling it. All right, we have another question coming from Jack the Streaming Snack, which I'll queue up here. It's a long one. Streamlabs recently came out with a cloud chatbot, a chatbot for streams that run in the cloud and whose settings were controlled via website on PC mobile device. He's a mobile streamer, so this is helpful. Do you think this is where all chatbots will go eventually? And who do you think leads the pack right now as far as chatbots go? So a couple questions here. First of all, do you think all chatbots will move to like mobile support and cloud stuff in the future?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No.
There's money in it.
Well, you possibly, but think about Streamlabs chatbot itself, right? It's got its own local client. What's its competitor? I can't remember the name of it, but
Elements.
Nightbot is out there.
Right. So
there are a
Nightbot
few of those.
is online though. Nightbot is web based. Well, not cloud based, but I'm trying to think. There's a separate bot, AnkBot, and this other
AnkBot
bot.
was now it
Right.
is now the Streamlabs bot. So
I wish I could remember the name of this other bot. I'm completely spacing out, but it's a local client. It relies on being installed on the computer, and it gives you so much more customization. So I think the cloud has its benefits for some of the standard day-to-day, but the added features you can get for running a local client and being able to customize the code locally and troubleshoot and stuff like that makes some of the bots always need kind of like their local client available.
Yeah, you're adding in another layer of work if you're using cloud-based, because you're already, unless you're mobile, you're streaming from a PC or using a second one, whatever you're doing. But you've already got programs running, and a bot is not process intensive. It's not resource intensive whatsoever. So that's not an issue. But you're just making, if it's cloud based, now I've got to upload stuff to the cloud and I've got to do all this extra stuff. There's less customizability. You can't do as much on the fly because you're uploading things to the cloud software, and it's not as convenient, I think, and not as, like GamerDad was saying, customizable. So while the cloud-based stuff does offer some functionality for people who aren't maybe doing standard streaming, I don't think it's the way of the future. And my bot of choice has been the Streamlabs chatbot. I just feel like it's got so much integration, especially if you use other Streamlabs stuff. It does befit you to use Streamlabs OBS and Streamlabs chatbot and all that stuff. They've got their own merchandise store now. So I feel like they're the biggest, most integrated thing that you can use. And I would recommend that as part of your second, response. But I don't think cloud-based is going to be the thing of the future.
Right.
Not for everybody.
Yeah, I don't know. Vel, first of all, what do you think?
I still use Nightbot, which isn't the best by any means. But for me, chatbots don't do too much. I use them for a few things, but I don't know. I think if there's money in it, people will convert over. But as of right now, the amount of mobile streamers that there are, it's a ways out if it were to ever happen.
Yeah. I don't know. I think chatbots, I think he brings up a good point here, because not only are they kind of restricted to, well, I don't think mobile streamers are the majority of streamers, but in general, I think chatbots are probably sort of intimidating to a lot of streamers, or especially ones that require you to download something and run the software as opposed to just doing stuff through the cloud. So I think having mobile-friendly bots like this or control panels, that's really beneficial for a lot of people. The more you can make it accessible, especially on mobile, even if you're not a mobile streamer, people just understand that better. So I think that's probably a good thing to invest in if you're building a bot like that, if you can support it. So, but good question from Jack. I appreciate that, man.
The bot was Phantom Bot.
Phantom Bot. I've not heard of that, actually. Yeah. Interesting.
A long time ago, as Ankh was developing, or as Phantom was developing, I think they split off. They had similarities, but they became completely separate entities.
Right. Gotcha. Okay, we have a question from Servo the Dog, I think. I want to see if this is going to work here, potentially. Yep. So, do you find it harder to stream a single-player game like Zelda versus Apex, or another multiplayer game? Okay, so versus Apex. Do you guys prefer single-player or multiplayer when you're streaming? What are your thoughts?
Well, I'm actually about to stream Zelda today. Just throwing that out there. But it's definitely different streaming a single player game as opposed to a multiplayer game. Like multiplayer, people care a lot about your skill and how well you know the game. Whereas single player games, they don't really care too much about like how flashy you are in a game or anything like that. They're there more for the interaction and just for entertainment. Which is it's just a different form of entertainment, I guess. It's more. I try to be funnier when I'm streaming single player games. I try to talk a lot more. Whereas when I'm playing Apex, I focus a lot more on gameplay. So it all depends on what you're good at and what you're comfortable with. So I wouldn't say either one is easier or more difficult. It just depends on your stream style and your play style for both types of games.
Interesting. Britt, what are your thoughts?
It depends on what you're trying to get out of your streams. I think there's nothing wrong with mixing them in, and I do a lot of that. But if you're if you're thinking about choosing one game, I guess are you going to do variety streaming, or are you going to be a single game or like genre based streamer? So that's probably where I would question first, like what are your plans for streaming? Because there's different approaches. If you're going to be a variety streamer, mixing them in is perfectly fine. And what you're doing is showing games that appeal to broad audiences if you're mixing the different types. There's a positive that exists in playing multiplayer where if you are playing with viewers, if you're playing multiplayer games with random people, it doesn't really matter what you're playing. If you're going to play Apex Legends but never play with your viewers, you might as well be playing Metro because you're not interacting with them. If you're looking for some sort of interaction and playing with viewers, then multiplayer games are great, and they bring another level of building your community, interacting with them, getting to know them, playing games with them, and stuff like that. So there's a lot to that, I suppose. If you're going to do one game, multiplayer offers you more options. If you're going to play it without your viewers, then it doesn't matter anyway. But I personally mix in a variety of them, but I'm a variety streamer. Veli, you play with your viewers, right? When you do Apex Legends and stuff?
Yeah, I would do for the most part.
Yeah. So he's using it to its full potential by playing with viewers when he can. I mean, obviously not every match might be with viewers, but you're getting extra potential out of it. So, I mean, it's positive, but you've got to make the effort to interact with your community and bring them into that multiplayer game. So it's also more work for you if you're going to do that.
Right.
I'd say it's actually more difficult when you bring in the multiplayer component with your viewers and everything, because now you have to balance probably what's potentially the competitive gameplay of something like Apex Legends, right? You're talking with your viewers that are in with you, and then you're also trying to keep up with chat, that extra dynamic. So if you can master that, like watching Brit and Veli have their own viewers and other players in audio with them, and then also being able to keep up with chat, it's actually, I kind of want to say like a work of art, because that's not an easy skill. But if you can bring in multiplayer, it certainly makes it a lot more fun. I would say, as a streamer, multiplayer games are more fun when you know who you're playing with, because you can control the environment of your stream better. Like Veli's not just, if I carry myself in a specific way that doesn't work for Veli's community, and I'm a complete random stranger that comes in, that's probably not going to work well when it goes on stream. It's probably going to make a lot of people uncomfortable. Or if he knows me well enough, he'll know to kind of like, well, let's do another game some other time, right? Because I don't work for it. But if I'm someone that kind of matches with the community, and I carry myself in a way that's acceptable to his stream content, it works well, because he doesn't have to worry about what I'm gonna say or do. So multiplayer is a big wild card to me. I've done Wednesday night streams, like the Smash tournament kind of thing that we did and all that. It gets really difficult because I lose focus on the people with me, or I lose focus on the chat. But if you can master it, I'd say mix it up, because it definitely makes things entertaining. Your buddies in chat with you can really make it a little bit more funny.
Yeah, I think the problem with this kind of question is that the word easier is so variable. Like, what are you trying to accomplish, basically? I mean, I would argue that it's easier, like GamerDad said, to like literally just to stream a single player game, because there's less going on to worry about. But that doesn't mean it's easier to grow streaming single player games. So it depends on like how you think of the word. I think if you're starting out, if you're brand new to streaming, you'll have a more engaging stream faster if you stream single player games, probably, because then either you're playing the game or you're talking to chat, and you can pause the game if you need to. Most single player games anyway are probably less complicated overall than a multiplayer game, and there's more flexibility. Again, doesn't mean it's easier though, because that's a kind of a vague word. So it depends on what you're trying to do with it. And like you guys have said, it all kind of depends on what you want to do with your stream. I really don't feel like you need to do single player if you love multiplayer and it's hard. Like, man, it'd be so much easier if I just do single player games. I think you can really develop that skill and just be happy in the long run if you do something like that, versus trying to take the easy way out. Yeah,
and you can tell when a streamer is playing a game they don't enjoy, right? I've seen Brit try games, I've seen Veli try games, and you could tell right away, like, this is not for me, and so when the streamer starts to look disengaged from what they're doing, the community starts to get disengaged from the streamer, and it just kind of spirals down. I mean, look at Veli, if you kept playing Metro, imagine what that would do for your community. You'd still have a couple of people sticking with you as your supporters, but some of those fringe viewers that pop in and out are like, this is not, I'm not enjoying watching him not enjoy the game. Unless that's your niche, right? If you want to go play games and show everybody how much you hate the games, fine. And you could find viewers for that, but it's just going to be different from streamer to streamer. I really, really think whatever you do, play the game you want to play. Don't let someone force you into a game that you know you're going to hate.
Cool. Definitely agree. So thanks for that question. That was from Servo, I believe. I think we have a caller ready to go in the Discord. Oh, it might have disappeared, it looks like. So maybe we do not have a caller.
So I saw a question in chat while you're trying to load up a caller. Somebody asked who would win in a wrestling match between us on the call. I see that look, Veli. I fight dirty, though. I think it'd be Veli, though. I really do.
Back down. Back down.
I just wanted to see your reactions, that's all.
Didn't even have to say anything. What's up?
No, it was pretty obvious.
All right. We have our next caller, or sorry, our question about to go. If our caller reappears, we'll grab him on. Calls are wide open, guys. So the question comes from Automania. I think that's how you say that on Twitch. It says, Brihtwulf has such a great commentating voice. Do you guys do any daily practices for improving your speech or have taken any public speaking classes? Do you think this is... that's from the old question. Sorry about that. So yeah, basically, do you guys do any sort of prep for your stream with speaking?
I don't do prep for my stream. I mean, other than like mic checks and stuff, I don't do prep. There's just kind of how I sound, though. I guess I haven't taken any public speaking classes, but I have focused on things like my clarity of speech and projection and things like that from being a teacher. So I have done a lot of classroom teaching. For those of you who don't know, off stream, I'm both a narrator and I'm a teacher. I teach English and stuff. So I have to stand at the front of a classroom and be able to project my voice to get kids' attention, and I have to be able to speak clearly and all of that stuff. So I have focused as a necessity for that to be able to speak and enunciate my words. This is something weird that I feel like has come in useful when doing streaming, singing. I know that sounds weird, but being able to get that same vocal projection that you would need as a singer. So if you ever took choir in high school or anything, and the whole like sing from the diaphragm stuff, meaning, push your voice out, not with just like your lungs, but get that extra projection. So what you end up doing, if you enunciate your words clearly, try not to have a crazy accent. If you're an American, try to lessen, if you want a more professional sounding voice, lessen. If you're from Georgia or something, try not to have too much of a Southern twang when you're talking to your audience because they might not understand you, and things like that. Or if you're from New York, etc. But yeah, projecting is really important, and enunciating your words. But I don't practice ahead of time, but those are things that you can work on. Even people from Michigan, we would normally have kind of lazy ways to say certain words and like certain pop. Things in the Midwest. So try to avoid those things. Anything that's regionally defining, just try to make sure you're pronouncing your words clearly and project your voice as much as you can.
Yeah, I think this is sort of a funny thing that a lot of streamers I've talked to have been working on, but it's not something you would expect to associate with streaming, like improving your speech quality and speaking more clearly. It doesn't sound like a Twitch skill off the bat, but yeah, I think a lot of people think about this actually. I've talked to Vel for sure, and I've definitely felt this. We've both made this change over the years of streaming. Vel, do you have any like practice that you've done before or any deliberate kind of strategy for this?
I'm horrified of speaking in front of people, but for some reason online is just easier for me. Like if you put me in front of a group of like 40 or 50 people and like I don't have a camera to focus on, and I'll look at their eyes and I'll see that they're looking at me, and then I just paralysis. I'm done. So I don't know what to say to help you out about that, aside from you just gotta focus on something that's not other people looking at you. But I've definitely watched VODs when I originally started streaming, and I realized how terrible I am at talking. And like I was just like, this guy sounds like an idiot. I don't want to sound like that anymore. So I would like just kind of like talk to myself and realize like how terrible I was at saying words. And so I'm still pretty bad at it. I still have like the occasional slip up where I sound like I'm drunk because I slur words sometimes. Yeah, it's just weird stuff. So you just watch your own VODs and listen to yourself talk and see what you need to fix. And don't sound dumb.
Watching VODs is there's so many benefits of watching a VOD. It's your audio quality, your mic quality, video quality, everything. But that's a great point too, is reviewing how you sound. See if you would listen to yourself, because you're probably your best critic in that area, especially. GamerDad, you have thoughts on speaking?
I've just kind of tried to put my day job into how I speak at work, into kind of my stream. Not necessarily the terminology I use, because I lose a lot of people if I start talking about computer systems. But it's really how I project to an audience listening to me, because in a lot of meetings I have the room, and being able to hold that attention and project myself in a way really helps. And it's the same thing in a microphone on a stream. You're projecting to an audience of people watching you. I don't do anything outside of that. I don't do anything kind of from like going into public speaking classes. It would probably help if you really are just a bad speaker in general, but I don't think viewers are looking for Twitch casters that are really good public speakers, right? You're not giving a speech, you're not doing stuff like that. You're trying to be you. And like Veli was saying, I try and correct some of the words that I slur. That's a personal improvement from listening to yourself. That's different from public speaking. And I think those pieces, or if you have a very heavy accent, certain words that are very hard to hear, maybe clarifying those a little bit. I don't think there's anything wrong with being a Southerner and saying y'all, or
no.
I joked earlier. No. And I know you're not saying that either, Britt. But I know some people might worry about, well, I'm from the South. If I keep saying y'all, are they gonna? No, that's you. Like that's you. That's your person. That's your personality. But if you say it in a way where you sound like Boomhauer, right? You should probably clarify.
Hang on, Mike.
Yeah, it's more about being clear than it is like avoiding pronunciation things. But it is with streaming. It's about your personality. But if you want to improve on your overall performance and content, focus on things like clearly pronouncing words and projecting your voice out there. But don't change who you are, obviously. I mean, don't try to sound like you're from somewhere you're not, or try to change who you are. That's definitely not necessary.
Mm-hmm. And actually, GamerDad, you brought up a good point there, because people, they're not looking for public speakers out of Twitch streamers, but you think there are a lot of the top Twitch streamers, they have it's sort of part of their brand, the way they speak. And I never really thought about it before, but I mean, you look at some of the really loud people, or just you're looking to entertain people with your speech, right? So if you're a very vocal person, very loud, like maybe Ninja, Tyler One, Dr. Disrespect, you're using that range a lot and like peaking pretty high, versus even if you're quieter, I would say even like Brihtwulf or Dr. Lupo or something, you're still using range. Maybe you're not yelling, but you're using a lot of difference in range to interest people, and not just talking monotone the whole time, because that's not as interesting. Yeah. So I think that's a cool thing to look at too. Make sure at least you're trying to entertain people a little bit. Doesn't mean you have to be fake or crazy, but at least have some variation in the way you speak, I would say. So, okay, we have a caller ready to go. Finally, he's back. That's Steamer Twitch. I think I have him as a friend already, because he was here a couple weeks back. So I'm gonna get him ready to come on the show here. I always love that name. Steamer sounds just like streamer. It's pretty funny.
Might have been intentional.
Maybe. All right, I'm to the call right now. Here we go.
He loves steaming his clothes.
Steaming his
clothes. Loves it.
Steam, are you there?
Live streaming.
How y'all doing?
Good. How are you?
Man?
Yeah.
Good. So first off, I'm really enjoying the podcast. At this point, I'm convinced I'm going to make it all the way back to the original episode. I'm binge listening. I think it's really great that you guys are trying to help other people. It's something I love to do personally and professionally, help people out. I'm not the helper in this space yet, but thank you for what y'all are doing.
Yeah, man. Thanks for listening. We appreciate that.
So I also had a chatbot question, and I'm specifically looking to hear from your streamers about what they're using. But outside of that, I'd like to hear what chatbot they dropped because of specific issues they had, or what one they selected because of some feature or something was included in the new one.
Okay, so chatbots, guys. What do you currently use, and what have you dropped in the past? Starting with GamerDad.
I am using Streamlabs chatbot almost exclusively. I did buy, it was like a $5 or $10 license to get DeepBot. So I tried that out. I didn't go monthly with the premium service, but I tried that. And I've tried Nightbot, MooBot, Stream Elements, and PhantomBot. So I've tried quite a few. It all came down to personal preference, and it all came down to your kind of look and feel. Some of it was look and feel for me, and how you would utilize it. For example, when I was using PhantomBot, I don't know if this has changed. It required me to go to a web page to log into the bot on my local machine. So I had to load up something to bring up a web page. And Google Chrome can be very heavy on your system resources, so that didn't really work for me very well. Nightbot and MooBot didn't give me the customization that I desired. It gave you custom commands, but it doesn't let me run additional scripts. Or if it does, I didn't find an easy way to do it. The reason I stuck with Streamlabs chatbot is because I got very reliant on it, and I have so much in it already that I don't want to move all that customization to any other bot. And then I shied away from DeepBot only because the currency system penalized lurking viewers. I couldn't find a way to enable just us. We do things with dad points in this stream just to have fun, and I have no issue. In fact, I enjoy it when some of my viewers will come in and lurk and paint along with me on my streams. So you get no recognition in that bot for being there if you're lurking and not speaking in chat active enough. So it really felt like Streamlabs chatbot was more well-rounded, and it gave me a user interface that I can load locally on my machine without using a web page. And I've just customized enough of it, but there's no wrong way. I mean, it's not wrong for me to be there, versus all the other bots have great potential for all the other streamers. It just was kind of where I landed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would agree with the Streamlabs chatbot, particularly as I mentioned earlier. All the integrations are really useful, especially if you're just starting off and you kind of want everything all in one place. You can put up a merchandise store now. You can have all of your alerts. You can have purchases from Humble Bundle from your partnership links show up on there. You can do your giveaways through it. You can have redemptions from your points system, like GamerDad's saying, right on the stream. I mean, everything that you could possibly need without becoming like the next huge professional. And Ninja probably has his own crew of people who custom make everything for him. But if you're just starting off, Streamlabs has pretty much everything I could think of that you might need, all integrated into one system that works together. So if you want to start small, you can with something else. But I just think it's great, honestly. And I'm not getting paid to say that. I'm not sponsored by them, but that's what I use.
Did you drop one in the past or anything, like Nightbot?
I used Nightbot when I started off, yeah, because I was like, okay, bot, yeah, something simple, put some messages up and, maybe do some song requests and stuff. And it filled that duty of a very brand new streamer who didn't do anything. But as soon as I started growing, within a few months, I started realizing the limited potential of Nightbot compared to Streamlabs and all of their systems. As I started saying, well, what if I want to add, oh, I can't do that. Well, what if I want to add, oh, I can't do that either. So then I started needing other tools, and I said, well, Streamlabs has every tool I could possibly use in one spot. Problem solved.
That's true. Vel, what do you use bot-wise in your channel, and what have you ditched?
I'm using Nightbot just because it's super easy. I don't really do too much with commands or anything like that. Like very, very, very simple stuff. At one point, I tried Ankbot, or Ankbot, whatever it's actually called. But the only reason why I tried that out was because I was trying to do a point system, but it didn't really work for my channel, or at least at the time it didn't. So I just dropped that and I went with Nightbot just because of the ease of use and everything. It fits my needs for right now.
Yeah, I think you can't beat how easy Nightbot is to just set up instantly and have ready for basic commands, things like that. And like Brihtwulf said, like if you get to the point where you need some certain features Nightbot doesn't have, then it sounds like Streamlabs is pretty good for just about everything. GamerDad and Brihtwulf would agree, I think. I will say, so I can't really speak to this in my personal channel, but for the TRUgaming account, we had sort of a niche situation where we used the Streamlabs bot for a while, but we do giveaways where we have hundreds of people entering at a time, and the Streamlabs chatbot doesn't have the best way of telling people that they're entered and entering, because you have to do it all in the chat, and people are kind of, do I have enough points? Am I in the giveaway? Can you confirm I'm in there? And do that times 400, that adds up pretty quick.
It bogs down. Like I've done like with 150 people in a chat, done a big giveaway, and you've got literal minutes behind in the bot catching up with commands. So,
and the bot has broken for us before in the past, which I think this is very rare. This is probably not something that most of you guys run into, but for that reason, we moved to actually stream elements for currency system stuff, because they have like an online page you can go to enter versus the chat. You can see how many entries you have. So we made that switch. I don't think it's that applicable, but I wanted to share it at least.
Right, and to add to that, for the true partners that stream on the channel and stuff like that, our reliance on that bot, right? Having someone has to make sure that the Streamlabs chatbot was up on the stream machine here or on a machine somewhere connected, so that we could utilize the commands, and it made it very awkward. So a cloud-based or a web-based bot.
Yeah, if you have multiple people on the same account.
Yeah, and that's the only downside to Streamlabs chatbot is I have to be, with the way I'm set up, I have to have it running on my local machine. And I've had people do takeovers of my channel while I'm in another state.
Right.
So I've had to make sure to leave my computer running while I'm gone, and it doesn't go to sleep. And so that is the downside. So it's a very big benefit. It just really depends on what you're going to do with it. Yeah,
for sure. Cool. Steamer, you have any follow-up questions, thoughts, anything to add?
That was very helpful. And the good news is I don't have to move to a new bot. So appreciate that. The follow-up thing, Green, was I think if y'all would do a segment or an episode on networking, specifically within Twitter and Twitch, I think there are a lot of people out there that are struggling and just really doing that the wrong way. I think you could easily spend a half hour on that, really digging in a little deeper and helping people out.
Yeah, for sure, man. We'll add it. We did an episode on using Twitter to grow, and I think we did some basic episodes on networking, but we could always revisit it.
We did an offline engagement, like a social networking, how to engage when you're not live. So I know you and I have done something like that. So I think it could probably be pieced together through multiple. Yeah,
I think just looking at networking as a whole term, that's a whole nother debate. So
yeah, there's a big debate on that.
Yeah. But cool, awesome. Thanks for calling in, man. Appreciate that. Thanks for your good questions.
Thank you.
All right. I think he's on like a little bit of a delay, so understandable. So let's queue up the next question here. I'm going to grab one, it looks like from Meemaw, which is a cool question. While I'm doing that, you guys have any maybe quick thoughts on networking? It's a huge topic, but anything you want to say about that just off the top of your head?
Don't look for anything in return.
I think a lot of people don't do enough of it. Honestly, I don't think enough streamers really consider how useful that is in just kind of not only having fun with what you're doing, but also growing it, of course.
Right. And Veli, what you just chimed in with, that is a huge thing for me. I've heard, so don't expect anything in return. I've been told by a couple of different streamers, if you're going to host people, if you're going to grow, build relationships with other people, I'm gonna call out Brihtwulf for a second. Brihtwulf doesn't always come in and raid me because he's never online when I'm up. He doesn't host every single night that I'm live. He doesn't come to my channel every single night that I'm live. And that's okay. We've got a really good streamer relationship and a good friendship, I think, outside of stream as well. And that was by me reaching out, going into his channel, by meeting him through the charity event last year, and we built that network. And Veli is the same. He and I don't always interact in the Twitch world because of the circles that we go in. And I don't expect Veli to be in my channel every night. I don't expect him to raid me on his night streams if I'm live. I don't, because I don't expect that in return. I just try and be a good friend, a good kind of business partner in some aspects, if you think of it from a Twitch perspective, to those people. And I'm going to keep doing that in return. I've been told if they don't give you anything back, drop them. Just move on. And I would not
use them and lose them.
Right. Right.
That's dumb.
And I really cannot stress enough how much that will just destroy your reputation and your character. And it's harsh. Now, if there's someone that's actually bad for your networking, if Veli was very abrasive to me and treated me like trash, of course I'm going to drop that network connection. Kind of like, unless that's our relationship. I know he's got some friends in the stream where they kind of mess with each other a little bit, but that's different. If it's just from that connection, that network. I keep saying network connection like it's a Wi-Fi thing, but it's Veli is right. Don't expect anything in return, and Britt's right. It's people you want to have fun with. It's growing friendships. And Snoop made a post about this a long time ago that kind of sparked a debate internally. That I don't like to use the word networking. I mean, I love it because building friendships is a form of networking. But it's just you've got to give and give and give, and you're going to give more than you're going to get back. But it's just the reality of it.
Yeah, I think that term networking is just friendships is what I would like to cultivate. Think about it this way. If you have a friend in real life, do you expect your friend to call you every single day and see how you're doing and show up every single time you have a party and every single time you need? No, that's not what friends are. I mean, you have a life that's changing and active, and day to day is different all the time. Your viewers, your friends on Twitch, they're different. They're just like that. They're not they don't work for you. It's not an employee-employer kind of relationship. And I think that some people who want to do this as a job start to mistake that a little bit. Maybe as they get bigger, they have this idea that networking is a professional-only thing, but that's not the right way to do it. Not to grow organically anyway, and I don't think it's the right way ethically either. If there's such a thing as Twitch ethics, that might be part of it. Don't use and lose people. Build real friendships and cultivate things that way, and don't expect things. Veli's absolutely right. Basically, if you go in and say, I expect nothing out of you, you will never be disappointed, and you will always be happy with whatever relationships you build with other streamers and your viewers too. I would say the same thing with viewers. Just because you've got regulars, subs, mods, don't expect things out of them. Just do your job, do your best, and don't, I mean, other than like the responsibilities of the job, don't be like, hey, you're a mod, you need to be clocking in at 8 a.m. You can't be doing that.
So just to kind of add in on that, that's kind of at our level, because none of us have become those really big streamers. I would say, though, for those out there that are growing, you do need to rely on your mods, and there are some cases where you do need to set up some expectations. Like, using Veli, for example, Wednesday nights are great for Veli because I know Tim is live. But there's always a chance you're going to get raided. That's one of your common nights where there's a chance that you're going to get hit. How would you feel if you couldn't rely on your mods to be there that night, right? Versus,
imagine if you couldn't ray on Tim to raid you every night. Man, that would be.
I'm just using it as an example, like, so using it in a smaller scale. There's a couple of events that I'll have periodically, or there's a couple of nights where I know I've got some close friends that have bigger streams that might. There's no expectations here, but there's that there's the potentials that where sometimes you might have some crossover, and you kind of want your mods to be around for some of these things. But yeah, you're right, Britt. Don't expect them to clock in at every single stream. But it's good to have that kind of open dialogue with them. Guys, we might need some support at this point.
Yeah. You do have coverage needs, obviously, but expecting it to be like a work environment is the only thing I'm saying. Don't do that.
Right. Yeah. This is a huge topic. We could go on for a long time. Yeah. I'll circle back if we have time, but I do want to get through some of the other questions we have here. So next question is from Meemaw. This comes from Discord. I'll throw it to Veli first. It says, how important do you think pre-show chat with your viewers is, and how much time do you each allot for it? Meaning time before you start gaming or the planned activity. And I know Vel does this for most streams. What are your kind of thoughts on this process? How important is it?
It can be very important. If you have the people there to support it and to actually, talk and chat, then it's definitely worth doing. As far as how much time you should allot for it, as much time as you really want. As soon as the chat starts to kind of slow down a little bit and you're not getting as much feedback, that's when it's time to start, changing it up a little bit. I never really designate, we do a half hour or we do 5 minutes or however long it's going to be. Sometimes I've gone for, an hour and a half to 2 hours even doing that. It's just, you got to go with the flow. It's like anything with streaming. You want to make sure you're as entertaining as possible. And if you're getting feedback in chat, you know that you still got them. So just try to keep their attention no matter what it is.
For sure. Britt, do you use this as well pretty frequently?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure if that's. Yeah, I don't know. It's a hard question.
Come on, Britt. We know you have a 1 hour chat session minimum.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always changing stuff around, and I use chat a lot. I mean, sometimes it's hard for me to tell if my viewers are joking and like picking on me because I'll sit and like talk extensively in an intro. So it's always something I'm still kind of trying to figure it out. Honestly, I mean, I've been streaming for almost 2 years, as much as I do, but a lot of the stuff that I do is still fluid. I don't know if that's weird, but it's not much of what I do is set in stone.
Okay, let me ask you then. Is pretty much every stream you do you have some segment where you're talking to your chat with just a discussion in most stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that started off as I'm very talkative, and so I would kind of talk for like the first 5-10 minutes of the stream, and that was just the way things went. But then I realized like more people were coming in and the community was bigger and more people had things to say, and I wanted to talk about those things with them. So we started growing a lot more at the beginning of the segments, and now it's like an hour of just chatting before I'm actually in the just chatting section now for like an hour before I get into a game. I don't know if that's going to stay permanent or not, because again, I don't know if that's something where when people say that it's fun and they like to sit there and chat, if they're just patronizing in a sense, or if they're actually like, dude, can you just tone it down and play a game for once, kind of thing. So, but right. Yeah, it's something that I do. So.
Sure. But it sounds like you definitely think it's really important to do, regardless of, whether it's just 10 minutes at the beginning.
Yeah. I mean, regardless of like how much, it is important to sit down and talk with your community if you want to grow that kind of closeness and tight-knit type of community that I know a lot of streamers strive for. If you're just really kind of casually doing stuff and you don't necessarily want to build a close relationship with your community, or you're uncomfortable with that and you would rather just be the demonstrator type of streamer, there's not necessarily anything wrong with that, but it is definitely different for every single person. GamerDad does not sit and talk for anywhere near as long as I do. How about you, Veli? Like, how long do you, on average, or do you have an average?
I mean, usually if I'm just not like doing the gaming yet, I'll just throw in a couple videos and we'll watch some stuff on YouTube. It's pretty rare that I just sit there and talk in just like a full camera, to be honest. But if I ever do that, usually it's like maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes, where we're just kind of hanging out.
And I'm like an hour, so you can see there's a huge range. There's a huge range of how much time people spend chatting with their community, and some of that's going to depend on how long your stream is too. For me, it's about 4 to 5 hours in general, sometimes 6. So an hour really isn't that much time out of it. But if you're only streaming for 3 hours and you spent an hour talking, that's a pretty hefty portion of your stream. So that's something to consider as well, I guess. But it's just so different for everybody and everybody's personality and whether you can talk for an hour straight and not lose your mind. So I don't know.
Yeah. And the thing about this kind of, when you're doing this on Twitch, it doesn't have to be just you full screen and a camera talking. I mean, it's the same kind of thing. Like if you're playing a game and you're really the focus is on what you're talking to with chat and not the game, I think that happens a lot too. Just developing that skill is really important, because more and more, I think doing this type of thing is the core of what Twitch is about for 99% of people. If you're not like the Shroud or the Ninja, where people just want to watch your gameplay, I would argue most streams, the person wants to interact or even just listen to the streamer. You look at a lot of top streams, like, I look at even Tyler One, Dr. Disrespect, really even Ninja and Shroud. Like these guys, they have a lot of segments where they're just talking at the camera, or maybe they're playing the game, but they're kind of keeping a running commentary about a story or something. So having that ability to just talk long form and even just talking at people as opposed to really answering questions, Yeah, that's
well, that
huge.
is really important. That's a super important skill to have because there is nothing worse than dead air. And that's the case in any kind of entertainment. If there's nothing going on, I mean, it's one thing in a movie where you can see things. I guess it's a little bit better, but if you're thinking about it and there's like nothing going on, nobody's talking. If you're listening to the radio and suddenly there's like 30 seconds of absolute silence, it's weird. And I think most people that come into streams, they feel the same way with dead silence of you just not addressing them for long periods of time. It's not fun. I mean, think about if you're watching streams, which if you are going to be a streamer, you should also be the kind of person who watches streams. I think it's weird when people are just like out of nowhere. They're like, I'm going to be a streamer. I have no idea what they are. But if you watch streams, what don't you like about other streams? I think that's a good way to develop your own stream. Honestly, think about what you do like and what you don't, and try to embody that and make it your own. For me, I love the interaction. I love getting on and chatting with people. I just met a new streamer who I watched now a little in the afternoons when I'm done. And she's really cool because she'll sit there and do what I do. And if the conversation gets pretty heavy, stop playing the game entirely and just start talking to chat about whatever they wanted to talk about. I often do the same thing. And I think that doesn't work for everybody, but I enjoy it because that's one of the things I like out of streaming. And so I also do the same thing when I'm playing. So
yeah.
So one of the things that I've noticed when it comes to your let's say pre-stream chat, right? Before you get in actual content, it also really depends on the kind of environment you're providing, right? So Britt, we as your viewers know, we can count on a good chatting session before gameplay, and a lot of people come in for that conversation.
Specifically.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then they'll stay and probably lurk along for the gameplay and listen in. And with my channel, with the time that I go live, there's a lot of other bigger streamers already on in my space, so I'm not really going to be picking up a lot of those people waiting in my chat for my stream to start. I see my viewer count trickle upwards as it goes, so having a long chat session, I'm going to be talking to dead air. I know I don't have a lot of viewers when I first go live waiting for me. There's a few because we've got our friends and our regulars and stuff like that, but I like to give a little bit of the information as to, for those that are already here, here's what we're going into tonight, here's what's changed, here's some reminders, and then interlace those throughout the course of the stream. Now, from a creative standpoint, I've got a really cool thing that I can add into my stream later for that just chatting kind of announcement section. Mid-stream, I can do a work in progress session where people can share.
You do those work in progress things, and that's unique to you in creative. So that's kind of, and those segments are cool where you're sharing and the work from the other people in your community, and that's something specific to creative.
Right, but what that allows for me to do is any of the news I would have expected a viewer count to want to hear, right? I can't give a lot of news pre-stream or when I first start because I've got 3 or 4 people in there. And then if I get up to like 15,
the show.
Exactly. And then if I've got like 15 people in there later mid-stream, hey guys, by the way, we've got this event going on at the end of the month, or we've got playthrough happening, we're going to be at the convention and all that. So that kind of news, I can give it to the midstream. Like Veli, if you change games midstream, or if you're in a loading screen, or you get out of a big game and you want to grab some coffee, hey guys, don't forget. So that's how, we've got this news, that news. That's how a lot of people who don't have like your environment, Britt, where you have everybody waiting for you to get started and honestly waiting to make fun of you for talking for so long.
Yes.
It's hard. The pre-stream is kind of concise for me. Hey guys, welcome. Here's what we've got going on. Here's what we're doing tonight. Here's what we've been doing. Let's jump into the content, and then we just start painting. And I fortunately I get to just keep chatting while I paint.
So that just shows it's a really individual thing. Like GamerDad can find those little work in progress segments. Veli, if you're changing games, you can jump in and be like, hey, here's our little talk segment while I'm loading and doing other stuff. And for me, because I've always envisioned my stream being basically an interactive morning, like a radio show that you can interact with. So I do lots of talking because that's like a focus for me. And I'm a narrator on the side. And people are always like, you have a radio voice. And I thought, well, then why not just do a radio show in the morning, and I'll be a non-vulgar Howard Stern for an hour. And so that's kind of what I try to do. And that's my own way of doing it. But you're right. Everybody has their own way. But what is important is just getting it in there. Interacting with your audience in some way is definitely super important. Don't neglect them.
And then for Veli, like one of the things that, and I got to be honest, I don't always catch your startup screens anymore because I'm driving my daughter to daycare when you hit the button. But one of the things, I don't know if it's still occurring, the music that you're playing, I know you're still playing like your 90s jam, your startup playlist. It's probably a little different here and there. But I remember some people, me included, having a bad day. Like there's music that you'd be ready to play for specific people and queue up as you're getting ready to go live and stuff like that.
Oh, that's cool.
You know, and that's a non-verbal startup kind of thing where people come in and they're ready to go and stuff like that. So, you know, between all three of us, there's vastly different approaches. Now, are you still doing that where you know, like if there's some different songs you might play different days because you know someone might be having a rough time or
yeah, I mean, if somebody reaches out to me, for sure, I'll if they have a song that is going to hype them up, then I know more than just one person up.
It's a really cool personal touch.
Yeah, just whatever kind of music you can get to get people to kind of be in the mood for whatever your entertainment style is. You know what I mean? Whether just whatever music you're feeling.
Sure. Right, because it's music you like already. Like it's mutual music and all that, and it gets you pumped up. But then it also helps. I mean, the whole pre-stream chat is an engagement tool. That's really what it is, and how we utilize it. And you know, there's millions of ways. Like Ninja, hits the go button, brings up after his countdown's done. He's literally right in gameplay doing warm-ups, I believe. Right, that works for him because that's what his people want. But we all have three different things that our viewers want from us. You know.
Yeah, that's why I was saying. I think for 99% of people, a lot of streams that I see, especially the top end, people always start with the pre-stream chatting. Right. I mean, that's even like I said, the Tyler One, the Dr. Lupo, the Dr. Disrespect, all these guys. If you're basically not Ninja or Shroud or someone who people are literally just there to watch the gameplay at the highest level. If you're not those like 5 people, then this matters so much because that's what people want to talk to you to start with. So.
And it lets you get to know them and them get to know you as well. You know, having conversations with them, you know, opening up here and there about certain topics, asking them questions, getting info from your viewers. It's a way just to kind of just grows things. It makes them have a more personal connection with you and you have a more personal connection with them, which is hard to do while you're in the middle of a game shooting people in the head.
Right. Absolutely. But circle back to Meemaw's original question. It matters a lot. Definitely make sure you include it. Love that question. Yes. Real quick, I'll read off some subs here. We have 4 subs from Lady Radar, Reaper Grim, Magsy, and Servo the Dog. Thank you guys all for supporting us, helping us do what we do. Love your faces. Yep. Next question is from Twinkie Talks on Discord. By the way, guys, callers are open. And I'll throw this one to Brihtwulf first. So the question is, how do you handle a community member going through something and needing space, but at the same time, not bringing down the whole Discord/chat down while you're trying to help them?
So you're talking about somebody in the Discord or chat who has a personal issue? I mean, like by needing space, what exactly do you mean about like this situation? I'm not quite sure I get it.
Basically, that's what it sounds like. Is this person you maybe want to help this person, especially if it's in Discord via like DMs or something or whatever. It sounds like it's happening in the actual Discord server, but you know you don't want to make the whole focus of the server on that issue or how to address that while also giving other people attention too.
I guess there's 2 different situations I would have here. One, is this during stream or is this off stream? Because my responses would be completely different. If it was during stream, I would make sure that I let the person who's having the problem know that, you know, obviously I care because I do care about people. That's just the kind of person that I am. And I try to help people and give advice whenever I can. And if it's something very personal, like I feel that probably shouldn't be shared with other people, or maybe they'd message me in Discord indicating that they probably didn't want to share it with other people, I would say, hey man, I appreciate the message. I'm going to get back with you as soon as the stream is done. Let's talk. Let's have a little chat. If it occurs outside of the stream, I will encourage people to simply direct message me on Discord. I accept DMs from any of our viewers and members of the Discord. So as long as they're not, you know, monopolizing the entirety of my chat. I've got time throughout the day where if I'm able to, I absolutely try to respond to DMs, and I'm happy to give people advice. As long as it's not constantly, if it's like every day they're messaging, then I would say kindly let them know that you're there to help as much as possible, but I'm going to have to get back with you again later, and just let me know. But I guess trying not to disrupt things as much as possible, but direct messaging is fine by me. I don't see that as a problem. I'm happy to talk to people over Discord and give some advice. If it's in the stream and they're sharing it openly, our community often kind of steps in, and that's just the kind of community that I've cultivated, I guess, is like-minded people that also, most of them seem to be genuinely interested in other people and, helping them out. I've often seen, if I'm in the middle of something and somebody shares a problem they've had in the chat, my chat kind of kicks in and starts saying, hey, well, what happened? And, what are you doing about it? And, it's kind of cool to see that. I was actually pretty surprised when we had a situation similar to that. I won't share any details, but something like that kind of did happen, and somebody shared it in the chat, and our chat picked up and was kind of trying to be supportive. So that was cool. But, I guess it's just you as an individual. Do you need to address it openly, or is it something that you want to share privately? So it's a rough question, but that's what I would do.
I know, Veli, you see that a little bit too, and I've actually been on the other side of that with you, like, having a rough week, having a rough morning kind of thing, and this is, you're like, well, GamerDad's here, let's get some music, let's pump them up, let's, it is about the chat as well, because I know your mods and a lot of your regulars are also very supportive, just like Britt. I've probably seen an issue like that you're referencing in your channel. It's really interesting to see, because it's kind of back to mods are an extension of you, right? You've got your community, you've got your mods in Discord, you've got your mods in your stream, you've got yourself, and providing that open community, providing that open door policy kind of thing. I'm here for you, but at the same time, making sure you set the correct boundaries, right? Like, on your go live screen, if someone's like, I'm really having a rough time with this, you're like, all right, dude, what can we do? Let's get you pumped up. But also at the same time, you've never made me feel like I was disregarded if I was having a bad morning, Veli, and you're playing the music to pump me up. And at the same time, you're like, we'll get the stream started. We'll get, so let's get the stream going to help you get kind of pumped up, so you don't take away from me feeling rough, but at the same time, you politely and professionally, like, well, I've also got all these other people that I've got to kind of tend to at the same time, so
it could get awkward, I guess, if one person just came in and was like, man, my gonorrhea is flaring up and it's leaking everywhere, and then you're like, okay, guys, can we change the subject? And I suppose it could get weird if people start oversharing, which some people tend to do.
Veli and I are coming to your channel one day, and we're just going to start talking about like bunions and all
and then you got to be like, whoa, man. My girlfriend said I'm impotent and she's leaving me. Like, how do you respond to that?
So Veli, apart from my woes, what do you do? Sorry.
If someone's going through a hard time, I mean, you got to try to help them out if you can. If it's something like you're not a therapist, if you are a therapist, then therapy away. But I'm not a therapist. Most of us on Twitch are probably not therapists. There's only so much that you can do, and only so much you can help a person out, to where you don't want to give them any advice that's not going to help, that you think might help. You know what I mean? I don't know. Just try to be respectful of their situation, and if they do need to take time off and step back from the stream, be like, whether they're a mod or whatever, it doesn't matter. Like, let them have their IRL and get their stuff figured out, whatever it is. And if they come back the next day and they're, that's what they want to do. If they never come back, then maybe they're still trying to work on it or something. But always be respectful of people's personal issues and, IRL stuff. That's, if they want to share it with you, then let them share and try to help them out as much as possible.
One disclaimer I want to mention on this is we sometimes get the topic of like needy viewers who make this a repeat habit of seeming like they need attention that way. That's sometimes a different discussion, and you have to do something different there. But luckily, it's not too common. It will happen sometimes, though.
Sure. Or yeah, it could blow up in your face, if you're trying to help support or help talk to somebody. I mean, they could seriously take over your chat as well.
That's where I think being able to deflect can come in a little bit handy to say, oh, I totally understand. Hey, let's chat about that later. Anyway, moving on, that kind of just redirect it a little bit, make it known that obviously, look, I do care. I'm not going to ignore you, but there's not necessarily the time for it.
Right. And then you can address that in DMs off the stream, hopefully.
Yeah. If you have to, right? A lot of people tend to get the clue if you've deflected them a couple of times. I had like one needy viewer at one point that was like that, and if you deflect them a couple of times, that guy seemed to back off. So
yeah, hopefully won't be too bad there. All right, next question is from Roy O Radio. I'll tell this one to GamerDad first. This one is, you mentioned a lot to make true connections and friends and not self-promote yourself to respect the streamer. While I do agree that's the right way to do it, at what point is it okay to tell the streamer that you're also a streamer without coming off as self-promotion? I'll throw up a follow-up question. Is there time to tell anyone?
So, yes.
Okay.
There is a time. I'll use an example with Brit on that time. But self-promotion is a very fine line. You are, even though you're a streamer, when you're not in your channel, you are a viewer, period. Like that's been my rule. You are a viewer. You can talk about the stuff that you do. Like if somebody were, I've been in channels where people have been like, what streamers do we have out there? Throw your name out there. And I don't throw my link when they tell me to, but I'll I paint, I do this. It is sometimes okay when the the streamer who is running that channel opens the door with comments to offer that discussion, or sometimes it happens organically. Like, for example, when I found Brit's channel after the Memorial Day charity event, right?
Yeah.
I came in and I was like, hey, Brit, I was one of the guys on one of the other teams. That was it. I didn't really... He knew what that meant. None of the viewers necessarily knew that meant I was one of the streamers competing against you in this weekend-long marathon.
Yeah, I only knew you as the a-hole that beat me in the competition. That's all I knew.
That was our other team. But,
we all just know him as the a-hole. But.
Throw a grenade at our houses, we'll see. Yeah.
Whatever you call yourself.
So, but, it was a subtle, polite way of trying to greet somebody to give some context to how we already might know each other, and I left it up to Brit to respond. I left it up to the person who owns the space to respond in a way to let me know what they're doing. And it turned into, at some point I got a shout out, at some point we talked about me being a streamer, and we left it alone there. And even to this day, when I go into Brit's stream, I'm not talking about my channel. We've known what, almost 9-10 months now? Almost a full year of knowing
about a
Brit.
year. Yep.
And I still don't go in there and I'm like, hey, Britt, did you tell everybody about my event tonight? Like, if it's something he's doing, or like even today's event, I didn't go in there saying, hey, Britt, you ready for today's podcast? He brought it up. Mm-hmm. And then we talk about it a little bit and you let the conversation go on. So it's really tough. You need to really think of yourself as a viewer in someone else's channel until they distinguish the difference. It's hard. It's very hard, but if you are a stand-up person, guy or gal coming into the channel, if you deserve the recognition in that channel, the streamer will take care of it, or the mods will take care of it, right? Mm-hmm. The mods know who the streamers are coming into the channel. They handle the shout-outs and stuff like that. But you still just got to make sure that you always allow the focus to be on who you're watching and not you in their channel.
Vel, what do you think about this topic?
I mean, they're really so you're a person / viewer before you're a streamer if you're in someone else's channel. Like, you're not as a person, you're not just a streamer. You know what I mean? So there's really no need or necessity to come across and say hey, by the way, I'm streaming, or I'm about to stream, or anything like that. So unless the person asks directly if you stream or if there are any streamers in the chat, then you don't necessarily need to say anything about being a streamer. When it comes to stuff like that, like you should only be hanging out in someone's chat if you actually just want to hang out in someone's chat. You're just trying to make friends. You're not like I said, don't look for anything in return. And if you're the one to come across and say, "I'm a streamer, by the way," like without their asking, you're kind of in it for the wrong reason. You're not in that channel because you just want to be in that channel and hang out and make friends. You're there clearly looking for something in return, in my opinion.
A common thing I hear Veli say, and even if I'm not watching that screen, if I'm like doing work and something, hey, that's not really what the chat's here for, dude, or that's not really how that works here, my dude. And then all of a sudden I look back and I see message deleted. It's because someone's like, hey man, can you follow me? I'm a new streamer. Can you follow me? You know, another thing that another avenue in, right? If you are a streamer trying to get started, I do tutorial sessions. Like I have a Mentor Monday specific theme. I open it completely. Hey guys, ask me your hobby questions, ask me your streamer questions, ask me anything that I can try and answer. I'll point you to somebody or I will answer it myself. Wide open door, like that. Go for it. Hey, I just started and my sound is awful. Can you help me? Like, well, first of all, we'll go check out your channel. You know, we'll get to know you a little bit. You know, we'll keep an eye on this person to see if there's someone we want to continue to grow with. But at the same time, like I have enabled the chat to now no longer be just viewers. But you know, you guys don't do that, right? So that's not where I wouldn't expect people to come into your channel going, hey man, I just started streaming and what microphone do you use so I can get the same one? Like, no, we know what you're doing. We know what's happening.
Yeah. Britt, you have thoughts on self-promoting?
I just personally tend to not ever self-promote. That's just a personal choice. Unless somebody asks me, I don't usually volunteer it because when I'm viewing, that is not my purpose. I'm just trying to be a viewer and enjoy a stream. If they ask what I do, I might say, well, you know, here's my professional life and I stream. I might say that. Otherwise, I usually just kind of hold off until they're like, so do you do streams or, you know, whatever? And a lot of people do eventually ask that, but I find it uncomfortable personally. So I don't tend to bring it up. And that's just, it's not that it's bad if somebody does, because I've had people do it in my stream and you know, if they're doing it in a polite way, it does not bother me. But as a personal choice, I don't self-promote myself.
Right. That's a really good point too, is that like, what do you do? Like, even for me as a full-time streamer, like I don't have another job. So when they ask me what I do, it's like, I'm a house husband, you know what I mean? Like whatever. Like,
yeah. Cause you don't want to come off like, oh yeah, I'm a streamer, man. That's why I'm here. Yeah. I
have an online business.
Yeah.
Self-employed.
Yeah, that's a cool.
I'll just tell people, education, and you know, I do audio narration and stuff, and then people, if I've gotten to know them a little better, that's maybe when, if they ask me what I do, then I might bring up streaming. But otherwise, you know, I just want to have a good time and watch some good streams. And you know, if I feel like I'm making friends with somebody, maybe at that point I might be on their Discord and maybe I'll DM them or something and be like, hey. But otherwise, I don't like doing it.
Now, if done correctly, because you can really, really botch this up, here's another way to self-promote, right? I've got a couple of viewer or streamers that I constantly raid night to night. Every once in a while, we'll go into the category. I'm seeing chat.
Bell's dying over there.
Every once in a while, we'll go into the category that I'm in or the tag that I'm in, and we'll go find a 1 or 2 or 3 viewer streamer that my mods have screened first, because you got to be very careful about this. And I'll go raid them. There's some of these people that are now in my channel. I'm in their channel. There's relationships and friendships that have built up that way. That's a good friendship way of making friendships. I'm not going to use that other word. But there's a good way of building friendships, supporting smaller streamers to help them get started or maybe grow, building those relationships. And it's also kind of a self way of promoting, right? It's clear I'm a streamer if I raid you with 5 or 6 people, right? I can raid in and that helps, but you don't want to do it to just like, don't go bounce channel to channel, just host. It's I'm ending my stream and I'm raiding my viewers into your channel, right?
Right.
But it's dangerous. Like that's a very, very gray area, and it's a very, very fine line to be careful about. But it is a way of, I'm going to say it, networking, and it's a way of self-promoting.
Yeah. Oh man, I feel like people do this because they feel like it's one of the only ways to network on Twitch, and then we talk about that all the time. Like, there's not a great way to do that as a small streamer on Twitch. So people should probably just like make YouTube content rather than going to someone else's channel and promote themselves. But what was I going to say? To circle back around, I like what Britt said too about having the policy of never self-promoting unless you're asked about it. That was some of the conversation over there. I think it's really cool if you don't tell anybody basically that you're a streamer unless you're directly asked, but then eventually it comes up. You get a lot of respect from that streamer once it's found out. I'm sure you guys have had that happen where like you'll find out someone in your chat is a streamer, but maybe you never asked them or they never told you directly. It just kind of came out from like someone else mentioning them, but they never said a word about it. Suddenly you have a lot more respect for that person because they know, you don't do that.
Yes.
So I think it's a good
so
point
much
to
more
mention.
respect.
Yeah.
Like I hate getting DMs like, hey, can you host me later? Like I'm about to stream after you're done. Can you host me? No. I don't care if I know you in real life. That's not the way to do it at all. I will lose so much respect for you. I'm sorry.
Like I'll just give a little anecdote. I had someone come into my stream when I do Smash nights, and he was a really good player. He won probably like 10 games in a row or something. So he was hanging out in the chat, and then I guess one of his viewers came in and started talking about how much he loves this guy. And I was like, oh, is he a streamer? And I had zero idea. And eventually he when I pressed him, he was like, oh yeah, I have streamed in the past or whatever. Yeah. I like had a lot of respect for him then because he had plenty of time in the stream to have dropped a link or something or whatever.
And I'd like to think on the background, this guy's like going to this random viewer.
There could be something.
Come on,
there,
stop! Like, don't. No, I mean on the other side, like, don't do that to me. Like, I was trying to just enjoy the gameplay. Yeah. Don't call me out. Like, I'd like to think that that's also what's happening for a stand-up dude.
That could be abused probably with some really convoluted scheme, but in general, I was kind of impressed by that.
Yeah.
So, all right, we have about 12 minutes left, guys, of the regular show. So if you have questions, now is the time to get them in, either via Discord, Twitch chat, or as a caller. I'm refreshing the Twitter page continuously, waiting for whatever is coming to drop. So I'll let you know.
Veli, is today day 1 of Breath of the Wild?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Never played it.
What was your last Zelda game? Like recent? Like some of the
Majora's
more recent?
Mask.
Okay. So that's kind of a ways back, right?
It's back. That's definitely far back.
That's better than me. I played the original Zelda on NES, and that was pretty.
I played that one too.
You can play it now too on the Nintendo Store for free.
Ooh, we have a next question from Adronis1. I'll throw this to Veli because he's talked about it multiple times before. So the question, I gotta hide it first and I'll show it. Okay. The question is, if you were previously a constant streamer but had to take time off due to work commitments, what are some ways to help rebuild your followers and fan base after taking such a long time away, in his case, a year away from Twitch? What are your advice for him, coming back after a year away on Twitch?
It's going to be hard. Like for me, growing the channel the second time was much more difficult and painstaking than the first time. And I feel like I did more things right the second time. So that was a little intimidating, I guess. I don't know how the right word to say right now, but even if you have all of your original viewers' phone numbers, you're not going to text them and tell them that I'm coming back to streaming. You know what I mean? Like you're not going to text every single one of them and blow up their phones with "you're coming back." You're most likely, you might get like a couple of them, but for the most part, you're regrowing your channel, especially after a year off. And I'm assuming with little to no communication with any of that community that you had before. So it's just a painstaking process of regrowing and, just doing the same thing you just did, but all over again. It sucks a lot, but if it's what you want to do, it'll be worth it.
For sure. Britt, what do you any thoughts on regrowing a channel after a long break?
I've never had a long break, but I feel like really just getting back into the flow of things. I've seen other people do it, and the less they made an issue out of the break, we're just like, hey, I'm back, and we're doing things just as normal. All the same stuff you loved is right here again. That was awesome. I saw somebody do it. It worked great. And so I think she had come back and been like, oh, here, let me tell you all about my problems. I had problems, guys, and we had to have this happen. I don't think I would have really liked it as much, but I felt like she did a great job just going right back into things and hitting the ground running. So.
Wow. GamerDad, thoughts?
I would kind of echo what Britt's saying. Just get back to it, and then realize to Veli's point, not everybody's necessarily going to be there. You know, I don't necessarily unfollow because I haven't seen you in forever. I don't know if Twitch has an algorithm to automatically unfollow. I don't think they do, but
I don't think so.
You know, I would, if I've seen an old name go live, or if I see in a Discord an old name that I recognize go live, I'm what's going on here, and go check it out. So some people may not be looking for you, but I would utilize social media to the extent that Brihtwulf's talking about. Like, we're back. You know, we've had some time off. We're back. We're getting right back into it, and here's what we're going to be doing. You know, what game we're going to be playing, what we're going to be painting, whatever. Just focus on forward, right? This is the point in time, and let's go forward. You know, because Adronis is actually a personal friend that I know who used to live locally, so I know exactly what's going on, and that may or may not be something. If you post about all that, it may sound to some people like attention getting, and to some people it might sound very supportive, or you might receive a lot of support for it. So it's just one of those fine lines. Like, hey guys, we're live. We're going live Monday. We're playing this game. Let's get back into it. Join me. Let's do it. You know, and and then just don't look at your numbers. Don't look at who's there. Focus on who is chatting. Focus on being appropriate in your go live announcements in my Discord and other Discords. Just put it out there, and it's feel the dreams. If you build it, they will come. Right?
Yeah, I think as the streamer, the best thing you can do for yourself and for your community is not focus on whatever it was that stopped you from streaming. Just because the more you bring it up, the more it's going to be at the forefront of your mind, and try to just put it behind you. And I think once you get some streams under your belt again, it won't be as much of a concern. So just try not to draw attention to it, and do the best that you can. And I think it's not that big of a deal to come back.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, I would say I agree with you guys that it's really cool to kind of try to pick up where you left off, as long as you set expectations accordingly, because you can try and do the exact same content, but don't expect the exact same audience if you do the same thing, because you're going to have to be ready for that drop and mentally ready to kind of rebuild, like Vel said, and it might be harder or easier the second time than it was the first. And it's probably not going to be, like you said, the same community that you had before, just because, I mean, a year is a long time. Yes. A lot can happen in a year. I personally have had this happen where, like, you know, I used to stream in college. The people who watch me now are not the same people who watched me back in college, and that's just how life is. I mean, I'm not like, I kind of miss seeing them, but I'm not going to be super sad about it, because I understand. Like, people got to move on with life, and there's a new audience now that's ready to watch.
Well,
so.
I haven't even taken significant time away, and for the year and a half I've been streaming, the people that were there at the start are not the same people that are there at the end. So it's going to change no matter what, you know. And I know Adronis is a relatively smaller streamer, barring gameplay. So even someone with bigger numbers, be prepared to see 0 and 1 and 2 viewers when you get your results. But that's not a reflection of you. You are almost completely starting over.
Yeah, absolutely.
You kind of are. So don't at all. If you expect the world, you're going to be disappointed. So to your point, and just make sure that you're playing the games that you want to play. Don't go looking for games. Well, if I play this, I'll get some viewers, right? No, just go have a good time. Get back into the swing of streaming and enjoy it.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Thank you for that question. Hope you have a good return to streaming and join us. Best of luck to you. Also, don't wait. That's a thing that I think could happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't stall if you're so worried about getting it perfect. So, next question comes from Void the Area. I'll throw this to Brihtwulf first. He says, what's the best way to market/promote a new or small Twitch channel, in your opinion? Any starter Twitch channel advice that you would give to somebody as like kind of the best use of your time starting out to grow?
I think that the best thing to do is to start off with reasonable social media presence. Things like Twitter, very helpful. Facebook, if you use it. So most people have some kind of personal something account, social media of some sort, whether it's Facebook or Twitter. Most people have something. Start off with creating a professional account for yourself, but mention yourself to your friends, to your already existing audience of whoever it is, acquaintances, friends, whatever. That can, in some cases, jumpstart your professional Twitch career. So get those people who already are your friends on Twitter, are your friends on Facebook, old high school friends, whatever. Let them know you're streaming. That can be the boost needed to kind of catapult you off the bottom. Otherwise, there's not a lot you can do. I mean, there are a lot of these kind of fake follow for follow things, but that doesn't really help with real growth. The only way to do it is through just kind of the hard work and dedication and starting off with as much effort as you can. But that bringing your friends in is, honestly, it sounds kind of dumb, but even if you've got 2 or 3 friends who are willing to come in and support you early on, that has already set you off the ground floor on Twitch, because most of the people who start off are 0 and 1 viewer. Get a couple of friends who are like, you know what, I'm at work, I'm going to kick Bob on the computer and I'm going to stop into his chat and say hi while I'm here, and I'm going to lurk while I'm at work. That is usually enough to kind of just get the ball rolling. But you can't really promote. There's not really an ad service or something unless you're super rich and you just want to like pay Twitter and Facebook for ads. But otherwise, you've got to kind of just think smart and play with what you've already got.
Absolutely. Yeah, that step in terms of telling your friends, I think can scare a lot of people, but I think you guys would probably agree at some point people are going to find out anyway if you want to grow seriously. So that's something you should start thinking through at least, because you'll probably want to make that step eventually. GamerDad, what are your thoughts on this?
I would probably kind of echo the same thoughts, but I would look at the personal page or the personal Facebook and stuff like that. Sometimes you want some anonymity, so you kind of make it more difficult, but for respectable reasons. Like I've very rarely posted on my personal account that I'm live, or I've very rarely promoted my gaming stuff or my painting stuff on my personal account, because I try and keep it separate for personal reasons, right? There's a lot of family and stuff like that would be like, what?
Do you promote your other account on your personal account?
No. Okay. No, I will. I mean, now when I go to my Facebook groups, the only way I share it out, it'll say that, my name has shared this post, and people can put 2 and 2 together if we share those groups. But I've only once or twice, and I think it was probably by accident, shared my GamerDad Facebook Go Live post to my personal timeline. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I try and keep those 2 separate, because a lot of the people that do actively watch my timeline I know aren't going to come in, and that's okay. My mom and dad aren't going to come into the channel. A lot of my other family is just going to bring more questions, and it's, they don't really understand the online content kind of thing. But I have found some groups on Facebook where I know streamers can post to Go Live, but it's about the kind of content I'm providing, and it's not just a Twitch Go Live page, right? I go to some of the miniatures that I'm painting, or even some of my, as I've built up and made partnerships with stores, I will post Go Lives there and stuff like that. So as you get to know people, you'll get to know the groups you can post in. But for now, it's Instagram, right? Do an Instagram little video. You can record a little story, post your story up there, put a picture that you're going live, earlier in the day because the algorithm takes a while, I think. Do a Twitter post and just learn your hashtags, because your hashtags are ways to get exposure to content that you don't normally get through your viewers. So hashtag Twitch miniature painting is something that I can use. And if Veli follows that hashtag or has posts of that hashtag and he's not following me, he could potentially see it. And that's a way to expand your outreach.
I agree. So I'm checking my email just to make sure. Twitch tends to send out updates in email form when they do this kind of thing. So I'll be checking my phone for that. If you see me, look at my phone. Vel, thoughts on best way to kind of market, promote yourself if you're a starting streamer?
Honestly, I didn't really do too much marketing or promoting myself when I first started out. The few things that I did is I met another streamer who was playing the same game as me, who had already kind of his own community, and I kind of did some networking with him, and we're still friends to this day. I looked into making sure my overlay was hopefully at least better to me than the other streamers around my view group. And aside from that, all I did was I just tried to stream and get better at the game that I was playing and get better as a streamer. Because you can put in a lot of work to something, but if your stream isn't on point to where people aren't finding it entertaining enough, it doesn't matter how much work you just put in to, put your name out there. So I did a lot of just focusing on streaming and just trying to get better at that and validate that for myself before necessarily getting the name out there to other people.
Yeah, so focusing on making basically the best content you can first, and then learning more about promoting it down the road.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah. I mean, that is the core product that you're selling as a streamer, right? Mm-hmm. Like, if it doesn't matter if you know all the tactics about here's how to make a YouTube video that gets found in the search algorithm by this. If no one wants to watch any of your stuff anyway, then it doesn't matter.
Right.
Exactly.
So I think that is where the focus has to be on first. But assuming that you have a stream that you feel good about as a new streamer, like, okay, this is something I would watch, this is something people would probably be interested in, I would probably say YouTube and Instagram in particular are really underutilized. Because kind of the classic social medias, I should say, are Discord and Twitter for Twitch streamers. And those are okay. The problem is that there's not really a great way to get discovered on those platforms. Like maybe you can post your Twitch link in a Discord chat or something, or like you can post it on Twitter, but if you don't have any followers, no one's going to see it anyway. Versus both Instagram and YouTube have search algorithms, like I was saying earlier. So you can make content that's designed to be found by their Discover feature. That's the whole problem with Twitch, is there's not really great ways to get found on Twitch as a small streamer right now until they make some improvements.
I think that there's a utilizable aspect of Twitter where too many people will at the game or the company that made the game that they're about to play, rather than using the hashtags with the name of the game or the name of the recent update that came out. A lot of people do go on Twitter and check those little hashtag things and see, who's playing Call of Duty. They'll hashtag Call of Duty and check it out. Another way to kind of promote yourself or grow a little bit once you've been established in some way is through partnerships, sponsorships, and things like that. So if there's one particular game that you play and you are a Warframe streamer, something like that, you can start to contact Warframe, let them know. I think they have a partner program for streamers. They often will do events or give special treatment or help promote you, and you can do things like that. Or building relationships with any of the companies that make games that you play can often be helpful. You can get yourself involved in charity events, which is something that I have done, which can help you get your name out there. So thinking about, hashtagging on Twitter, making relationships with companies whose games you play, and finding sponsorships that fit you are definitely ways to start getting your name out there and growing yourself without actively promoting. That's like a passive promotion, I think. And it works, though. It works.
So I've kind of a question for you guys. Have any of you ever gone onto Twitter and gone through a hashtag to find a streamer to watch?
Yes.
Okay, how often?
Instagram. I've found people through Instagram.
But I'm asking Twitter specifically.
I've gone on Twitter and looked for people that were possibly going to stream it or who had news about the game. And so if somebody's like, hey, new update for blah, blah dropped, I'm going live, I'll go on and check that out. I don't do it regularly. That's not my way of going on regularly. I search Twitch specifically if I want something for regular viewing. But I do check out like news hashtags on Twitch, so I'm not above using that tool.
Okay. So follow-up question would be, how often do you use YouTube to look up content around a game to watch of some kind?
Much more often.
I would agree with that.
If I don't have time to directly look on Twitch, that's like my backup go-to thing. If I just want to check like one specific thing, I'll go over to YouTube and have a look for like new video content on there.
So that's kind of the point I'm making here is like maybe you can do it on Twitch, but if you think it from the viewer's perspective, most viewers are not going to Twitter hashtags to find small streams to watch. They're going to be looking for key types of content on YouTube. So that's where you should be putting your effort, in my opinion, because you go to where the people are, not try and. There's a lot of places like that on Twitter, Discord, where you can spend a lot of time optimizing stuff, and the return's just not going to be there.
Sure.
Versus taking the time to make a good YouTube video or sometime Instagram. I don't personally use Instagram a ton, but I think it is also good for this because there's just more people looking for hashtags and things.
I think in my environment, Instagram is significantly more important than Twitter.
Right. Yeah. Creative.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I can show you the pictures in Twitter, but I think Instagram's more effective to do that. And I found people through there, and the link in bio kind of caption in the photo. Sort of thing, and I've seen it a little bit on Facebook. Facebook and Twitter. But I've more of I follow a couple of hashtags on Instagram, specifically around mini painting, and I've actually had good conversations with people that don't stream that I thought did. Hey, do you stream? I've asked that so I can see the stuff that they're producing live to learn from them. It's.
I say all that to say, basically, I think that is where I would put your time, assuming, again, that you have a stream that is good enough content to push out. Then the best ways to push it out is through YouTube and Instagram, in my personal opinion. That's the best.
I guess my only question with that would be, will the YouTube clicks and views translate into live views on Twitch?
So
it could.
This is a whole other discussion.
Yeah.
But I think
it is. That was just something that came up.
Quickly, I would say you should not be so locked into the idea of being a Twitch streamer as opposed to a content creator as a whole. That's really important because a lot of people get really sucked into being, I'm a Twitch streamer. I stream on Twitch. That's what I do. Versus I stream and I make video content. And we talk about niche, that's important. But you really have to make stuff for many different platforms as a content creator. Even if top Twitch streamers are still putting stuff on YouTube, that's still getting people. Not everyone who watches your YouTube video will come watch your stream, but that's still people who are following your brand. So don't discount that.
Right, and then it gets very difficult this feels like a whole nother stream key session. But when it gets into stuff like YouTube, I've actually had a very big content creator, one of the very, very big partner streamers in my space. I've talked to him directly about getting into YouTube and stuff like that, and he was like, "You're not just exporting your video without any kind of, you just exporting your stream only." And I know some people that have done that. Now, that's not necessarily bad if you've built your space where that it's kind of. This is a great example. This is mostly kind of built into where it's almost completely ready.
Right.
You could just,
but we make key distinctions between the platforms. You can't put the same thing everywhere. You have to tune it. You'll find that when I'm putting this podcast on YouTube, the titles are much shorter, and I'm looking for more of an attractive title versus when they're going to Spotify and iTunes, it's more informative and a longer title.
Yeah.
Right, but then if you look at some streamers who put the chat up on the overlay, it's not a bad thing. I'm not telling anybody that's wrong, but if you put all of your chat up on the overlay, all of your the recent donations and all of that event stuff, that doesn't really feel right or set up correctly to export to YouTube. Right? If we look at this stream, and I can see it on my tablet here, it's very crisp and clean. There might be a couple of notifications that come up here and there, but the focus of the overlay is about the production value, not necessarily showing off all the chat and everything like that. So this is in a much better point to export. So if you are going to be using your Twitch content to provide YouTube content, you could do things like make a separate overlay so this segment of my stream I am planning on exporting. Britt, when you go over Skylines or when you go over Dawn of Man and you're talking about starting this scenario or going through this tactic of the game, or if Veli, you're participating in a specific tournament, like your qualifier gameplay or something like that, using the marker tag in Twitch, you can mark your stream, where your content is, and you might have I actually made a YouTube overlay where I get rid of all of the events and everything, and I had made it a little bit cleaner. Now I probably went a little too far, but you just want to make sure you've got the right environment to export.
That's not a bad idea too. I mean, there's nothing wrong with, if you're about to create something specifically that you intend to go to YouTube as a highlight, switch your screen over to the highlights or YouTube version of it, and then swap back when you're done. Because YouTube isn't about 4, 5, 6 hour content. I mean, I'm not going to upload an entire stream onto YouTube because chances are it's not going to get watched. Yeah,
and the other thing is, this point was only made if you don't have time to do offline content recording, right? I know you have some offline stream key sessions recorded. That's different. There's time allotted for it. As a small personal streamer who only streams a couple nights a week, I don't have the availability to necessarily make and edit separate offline content. Veli might have a little bit more available time to do that, as a full-time house husband, I think was the safer one. So you could set up an overlay yourself and do recording and specifically do takes and stuff like that and edit and everything. I, on the other hand, don't have that availability to do. So if I'm going to do a product review or an unboxing or how to paint this color or this style, I switch my overlay and I tell my mods, guys, I'm not going to talk to chat. Like, we're recording this 5-minute segment, and they step in and do that. Or Britt, you could tell everybody, hey, we're going to try and put this on my YouTube channel. Like, let's talk about getting into Skylines, and you can still engage your chat when you do that. Like, we're talking to our chatters here, and this is going on YouTube. So, it depends on what your availability is. And I really do feel like that's a whole.
Oh yeah, I think that would actually be a cool topic.
I think that'd be a lot of fun to talk about.
Yeah, that could be an entire discussion.
Yeah, for sure.
Did we get the news yet?
Well, yeah, I keep refreshing the Twitter and email, nothing yet. So I was trying to stall out a couple minutes here to see if we would get it, be able to talk about it. I think what we'll do is go ahead and give you guys wrap up little area time, and then if in the next couple minutes it pops, we'll talk about it. But otherwise, we'll kind of start signing it off. If something gets announced in like the next half an hour, maybe I'll do like an individual rundown or something as like a bonus. So I'll let you know about that. But for now, start with GamerDad. Thank you for coming into the studio today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Coming all the way out here.
Oh yeah, such a trek.
Anything you want to say to people about where they can find you or other news stuff to plug?
Well, in 2 weeks, they'll be able to find me with you guys at Playthrough with a whole bunch of the other True partners. But no, nighttime streamer, mostly in makers and crafting or art. Although Wednesday nights we've opened up what I've called Nightcap Gaming. Right? My community is called the Nightcap, so we have Nightcap Gaming on Wednesday nights where viewers can come in and play the game with us. Otherwise, weekends, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, I'm doing a lot of painting. As a matter of fact, I've partnered with one of my sponsors, and we are designing and building and crafting up the next product line for their scenic bases. So we actually have the company come into the channel, and we will design bases with viewer input. So scenic bases for miniature gameplay. So that's mostly on the weekends, 9 o'clock at night. You can find me there.
Nice. Brihtwulf, thank you again for coming on for the somethingth time. Anything you'd like to say to people about where to find you and other stuff to plug?
Yeah, absolutely. Brihtwulf on Twitch, obviously, brihtwulf.tv. And I'm around 9 a.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Friday. I'm a variety streamer. On Mondays, we do MMORPGs. Fridays is a new thing, Fiction Fridays. It is live audiobook narration. We're currently reading through The Hobbit, J.R.R. Tolkien. So if you guys want to come by next Friday, we'll be continuing with that. There is an exception. Sunday is a special day. It is both my 40th birthday and 500th stream. So I'm doing a special stream on Sunday at noon Eastern Time. And if you guys want to come by, I'm going to be doing My Little Pony cosplay. Not kidding. And we're going to be doing some Steam giveaways. We've got a Logitech mouse and a Brihtwulf coffee mug to give away to viewers. I will be dressed as Twilight Sparkle doing karaoke for your viewing and listening displeasure.
The scary thing is his wife does the makeup. Like, the wife is in total support of this. She's going to be doing his makeup. That's what's scary.
Oh my goodness.
Absolutely.
So proud. We're so proud of you.
Come on by. It'll be a lot of fun.
Make sure you guys check that out. I actually love the book content, by the way. I think that's super cool. But
thanks.
Yeah. Veli, last but not least, anything you want to plug here or where people can find you?
VELOKK_TV on all social medias and Twitch and whatnot. Do coffee streams Monday through Thursday, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tuesday, Wednesday night streams at 7 p.m. And today I usually start at 1 p.m. But I didn't. It's 15 minutes ago.
Disaster. Yikes.
The worst.
Well, go watch him after this then, guys. I assume he's still streaming today. We'll see.
Who knows? Cancel because
nobody knows.
Full-time house husband.
That's right. The housemaid. All right, guys. Well, yes. I apologize about the announcement stuff. Like I said, Twitch has a habit of irregular announcement times, so we never really know when it's coming out. But I'll probably do like a little quick separate video rundown that you'll be able to watch of whatever it is. So stay tuned for that. But thank you guys all for coming out and watching. Please come back next week. I think True Mama's doing it again next week. And then the week after is the 100th episode. And that's going to be live from playthrough on the main stage with a bunch of people. It's going to be kind of like the first episode, because it's going to be a Streaming 101 panel that we're also going to do a stream key. So it'll be kind of a cool way to come full circle on what the whole show is about and really give very basic stuff from both new and advanced streamers. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll let you know again if the news comes out and we'll cover it. So with that said, see you guys later. Have a good one.